Welcome to Peace of Mind for Pet Parents, the podcast by BrightHaven Caregiver Academy. I'm Gail Pope.
And I'm Karen Wylie. And together we're here to support you in navigating life with your aging or ill pets. We know how deeply you care for your beloved companions, and we're here to offer guidance, understanding, and resources for this meaningful journey.
Each episode, we'll explore topics that address the daily challenges, emotional realities, and choices you face as a pet parent, helping you and your pets find peace, comfort, and joy. Whether it's making sense of a new diagnosis, adjusting to changing needs, or simply seeking a place to feel understood, you're not alone. Thank you for being here with us.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for Peace of Mind for Pet Parents. I'm Karen Wylie, here as always with my friend Gail Pope. Today we're going to be talking about something that every pet parent can do, no matter what their pet's age or health condition, but something that can bring comfort and calm to your house and to yourself. That is creating a comfort kit for your pet at home. This isn't just for pets that are older or ill in any way. It's something that every pet family really should have on hand, because there's always that unexpected moment. You could be walking your dog and he or she twists a paw and you're thinking, what can I do at home? Is it time for me to really go to the vet? Your cats might get into a little scuffle and somebody has a little cut on their nose. Ask me how I came up with that example. It's important to have the things on hand that let you address the situation right away. That can make all the difference in terms of how comfortable you feel and how calm you're going to feel about addressing things at home. Now, Gail, you've often discussed the importance of having a comfort kit at home. I've always noticed that you refer to it as a comfort kit and not an emergency kit. So can you tell us a little bit about why you view that as a comfort kit and not just an emergency kit?
An interesting question. I think it covers both, but I think if you were to call it emergency kit, your brain instantly is like, it's an emergency. And we're not focusing on having an emergency. We're focusing on literally helping our animal before any kind of emergency arrives with whatever they're dealing with in daily life, mobility, health, whether they're nearing the end of life, dealing with a chronic illness or an acute situation. There can be so many different types of experiences that I know I've thought in the past, oh gosh, if only I had some, whatever it was, then I could put that on this, all sorts of those kinds of things. I think it's not something you can really give. You can give people an idea, an overview of the kinds of things, which I'm sure we'll do today, but it really needs to be focused on that animal, that situation. Then you can add in the more acute little pieces if you're actually going to need them. But I guess they're always good to have on hand too anyway.
It always seems to feel that when a situation comes up, the first thing that you think you need is the one thing you ran out of. Or something like that. We'll provide a little bit of a laundry list. I've got a lot of things written down here. I might start crossing them off to make sure that we've covered them. But I think we've all had those kind of situations with our pets where our pet's not feeling well, and we tend to notice it right before we're going to bed. So then it's, oh, geez, it's nighttime. What do I do about this? How do I handle this? So I think for me, one of the first things that every pet parent needs is to have the information on hand that might be needed. So that's to have all the contact information for their regular vet, as well as any and all emergency clinics within an hour or two of them that they might need to access. Because as we've mentioned at various times, when you find yourself in these situations, you don't really want to have to be scouring Google to figure out where to go. It'd be so much easier if you've already identified the clinics that are best for you, or easiest, closest for you. Then as I was writing that down, I had to identify for myself that it's important to make sure that you're on their email list so that if they do change their days or hours, that you are notified. I would never have thought of that until the last year, where my favorite emergency room, they're all about an hour away from me, but the one that I can usually get there and get in right away was sold last year. to one of the corporations. So there's all sorts of changes. Back on July 4th weekend and then again on Labor Day weekend, they couldn't get coverage. And so they were closed. I've been going to them for 20 years. So it's the kind of thing that, yeah, I know I'm all set. I know where I'm going. And yet, if I had headed in that direction and gotten there without checking, I'd be in trouble. But because I was on their mailing list, I was getting updated. So I would now add that as something really important to make sure that you're on those lists so that you're kept updated if there are any schedule changes, because that's pretty darned important.
A really good thought. I have a little note I printed out from my computer, a list of just exactly as you said, ages and ages ago when we first moved here. And I stuck it on the side of my fridge. So it's there in the kitchen because I'm generally heading to the kitchen if I need to make a phone call or whatever. But it's just always there. So I know when I've got urgent numbers, any important information, I just know to go to my fridge. Whereas if I had like a boxed comfort kit or something, it would be another step for me to go find it. So I think that's a good thing to do. It's worked for me.
It's figuring out where the most convenient place is for you to keep that list, whether it's the back of a kitchen cabinet or somewhere else, where once you've done the work, where do I keep that? Where it's the fastest and easiest to access. I think even if that was the only thing a pet owner did in taking a step to create a comfort kit, if assembling this kind of information, that would have to provide at least some automatic peace of mind. You're one step down the road here, and you can take a breath and say, okay, I'm ready if something happens. Let's now just start thinking about what goes into a basic comfort kit, what every pet parent should have, no matter the age of their pet or what's going on with the pet.
I think probably most important to discuss pain control, whether it's an end of life situation or more of a chronic situation. You probably need veterinary advice anyway before you would think about it.
Right.
So that sits apart. Otherwise, if it is a situation where end of life is approaching, then working with your vet or other practitioner to be sure that you have adequate pain meds on hand should they be needed. Also, a note, I think, to remind yourself, we all need reminding sometimes, I think, that dying itself, the process of dying, we know from the human world, it isn't painful. However, what we also know is that a chronic illness that may have been treated as painful should be kept on being treated all the way through the end of life situation because that pain is assumed. But
right.
Dying itself isn't painful. I think pain meds are probably the number one thing to make sure you have something. And even a product like Rescue Remedy, oh goodness, what do I do? Let's spray some Rescue Remedy around all of us. It'll calm down.
People out there have never tried Bach Flowers Rescue Remedy. It's been around for almost 100 years now, right? If not even more than that. For those of us who have used it when our animals are stressed out, we have generally seen quite a difference. Not the same as a drug, a sedative, but it's simple and easy. It doesn't require a prescription. You can get it online just about everywhere now. Let's think about the everyday comfort in care for any pet that pet parents would have on hand. I guess it's thinking of comfort, we'd want to make sure that we have soft blankets, towels, and anything that would help our pet relax, like maybe a comb or a brush. That always calms this one.
When you're talking about bedding, instantly, because I guess of the work that I've done, my mind instantly goes to incontinence pads and layering bedding. If you've got an animal who is in bed and not getting up, then you have to pay special attention to the bedding. The choice of blankets, I always get a little pile of blankets, a pile of disposable incontinence pads, generally, depending on the situation. You can get washable ones, but that makes it a bigger chore.
Right.
I put them in a pile of a blanket disposable and just build up a pile and keep it to one side wherever the animal is, so that when I need to change the bedding, it's right there, that I haven't got to go to the linen cupboard and go, okay, I'll have this one and that one, but just keeping it so it becomes an easy process, I think is valuable to do.
Do you keep a flashlight or even a headlamp available?
That's a really good thought. Maybe. No, it's certainly not in my mind generally. I know what I have learned to do where during the night when I'm lying with an animal and it's dark and I don't want to put the lights on. Generally, if I don't have anything else handy, I resort to my phone because that will give me a good light if I need it.
Yeah, that'd be
I can
perfect.
shine it away from the animal and then gradually bring it back until I can see enough so I don't
Yes.
disturb them.
Yes. And there's so many different flashlight apps out there that you can have on your phones if you need an extra beam of light. That's very helpful too. I think a digital thermometer is a must, along with a little lubricant, KY jelly or anything that would allow insertion of the thermometer in would be very kind, and you'll find that they are not as reluctant. They'll still struggle for the most part, but who would like that?
I think some people are really averse to digital thermometers and don't want to do it. They can use an ear thermometer. They actually work quite well, whether they're
Okay.
quite as reliable as an old-fashioned thermometer. Been pretty good for me, but if you put them in a cupboard and remember you've got them and then they need a battery or changing, you've got to also remember to make sure that they're in working order.
That's a great suggestion. I guess I'm old fashioned in that. I thought
Yeah,
I was being very contemporary going with the digital thermometer instead of the truly old fashioned kind. Knowing what your animal's temperature is so basic because if they're running a fever, then that puts you going in a different direction in terms of troubleshooting. Whereas if their body is starting to cool, then you're thinking, are they going into shock? So then your problem solving goes in another direction. Knowing what the temperature is and how far off normal they are would probably be a great help for you in determining how long you're comfortable staying at home or packing up and heading to the ER. I had tweezers here on my list
and scissors.
and scissors. There we go. You could be searching for ticks. You could be searching for splinters. You could be.
Cutting up your incontinence pads. I tend to buy big ones. It seems to be cheaper
Too.
that way. Then I cut them into depending on the size of the animal to make and use them that way. It tends to save money.
Absolutely. That's a great suggestion. Yeah. A lot of people would not think of that. They'd be thinking, well, I can get a smaller size. It's important to have your pet's records
Yeah.
available to grab and go if you need. So, any medications that they're on, any allergies that have been identified in the past, you'd want to alert a new vet to that. Certainly, if they're being treated for any chronic conditions.
Yes.
That's all information that you'd want to provide. And really, that's the kind of information you can just tuck into an envelope or something and update it every few months just so you're ready.
I don't know. For me, I have files for each animal and I have them pretty close at hand because I would be probably on the phone with my vet. So I've got to be able to have it there and ready to
Okay.
read. If somebody's not well, then their file would be sitting on my desk.
Oh, you remind me of the old days for me when I had so many cats that I had file folders on them. Now I don't do that. But yeah, if you have a regular vet or as you have your holistic vet, your homeopathic vet is a phone call away,
Yes.
which is great. For a lot of us with conventional care and conventional clinics in our area, that would be information we'd need to bring along with us.
Oh, let me go back. You mentioned towels,
Yeah.
and that just popped into my mind too. Yes, towels for all sorts of reasons, little towels or bigger towels. If you've got a large dog who is weakened, can still totter along and go out to the bathroom, but they're too wobbly, then you can buy some beautiful harness like lifts for the back
Oh,
end. You can also just use a bath towel and roll it, hold it under them, and help support them. So I've always used towels for something like that too.
oh, that's terrific. Where's my pen? I can mark that off my list here. Because I was thinking we have to think about how mobile the pet is, or if their mobility is something that's changing. So
Yes.
I was thinking of slings and had the towel idea right there because they have to be ready for that. What about emotional soothers for our pets? I guess we've already mentioned the rescue remedy, which
Yeah.
you can take yourself to calm you, along with providing it to your pets.
I don't know. I always have soft music playing anyway during the daytime. And so that springs to mind first because I think having a peaceful atmosphere is one of the first things to ensure for you as well as your animal.
I would agree. I remember a friend who traveled a lot recorded her voice just talking normally to her pets and her spouse. I think it was like 15 or 20 minute, just two partners having a conversation. The reason she did it was so that her pets would hear her voice.
How lovely.
So I thought that was an interesting thing. I certainly
Yeah.
had not thought of that because, well, I'm usually around. But for those who are not or who travel on their work, that might be something to think about.
Oh, I think that's a lovely idea.
I could see where that would be helpful. Definitely knowing your pet's favorite toys would be another emotional item or comfort item for them. Stuffed animal, maybe there's a particular chew that they like, because keeping them calm and comfortable, that's the whole purpose of the comfort kit, isn't it? You were saying earlier something about calming sprays. Is that something you have used in the past?
Well, yes, that's rescue remedy for me. I use the term rescue remedy because, yes, that is the name of the product that we know for
Okay.
so many years. But there are many flower essence companies, and almost every single
Yeah.
one of them will do
A
a mix.
diffuser?
No, not diffuser, but they make their own rescue remedy. They just call it different
Okay.
things, urgent,
Right.
whatever, that kind of thing. They're all wonderful. They're all formulated very much like rescue remedy, and they all do a good job. For me, I like to buy the dropper, the liquid, so I can rub it on their skin. I can use it in all sorts of different ways. I
Okay.
also like to buy the spray so that I can just, particularly if I have to put an animal in the car, and you could spray the car, you don't have to spray them, and everybody gets the benefit. So I think sprays are good. When we had lots of animals, I used to actually make the spray. I used to get a spray bottle and make up a mix from the liquid and then put it in a spray bottle and use it around the house.
Excellent. I saw over the last couple days, I've been seeing some music for pets pop up in my Facebook feed about calming animals because the music has been created at different frequencies for specific relaxing vibrations. It was like, may have to check that out to see if that might work. Now, should we consider, Gail, in adapting the kit as our pets age or develop various conditions? Is there anything we should begin thinking about differently as our pets' conditions change?
Depends on the pet, doesn't it? There are so many different directions that things can change in. I think one of the things that we haven't mentioned so far would be a mix of syringes, having a couple of oral syringes for feeding that have their different tip on them. I think particularly the oral syringes in different sizes, because if you've just got a little medicine, then 1 cc syringe is perfect. You may only have 0.3 and it's a small amount. Whereas if you've got more to give, I generally have 1, 3, 5, and 10 cc syringes on hand just in case. Just don't know
Oh,
what you might need them for. It's always handy to have them.
oh, that's great. I guess a pill popper would be a good option to have. I always prefer to pill with my finger, and my dog food will cushion or provide a lovely pillow for a pill. I find that works going to the back of their mouths, but a lot of people prefer to use a pill popper of some sort. But that requires you have to get used to each of them. They're so different.
Yes, yes.
So that might be something you want to test out. Make sure it's something you're
Yes.
comfortable with. Oh, we haven't mentioned a heating pad.
Oh, yes.
So something that's low heat heating pad. And I've never had a cooling mat, but I think that would be something that could be good too, in case an animal was actually running a fever of some sort.
I've never used one either. I guess the seasons and the weather
Yeah.
would play a part. But again, it's all about whether you've got an immobile animal. If it's a cat, you can change their position. Oh, and that's something else, bed sores. If you've got an immobile animal, you really need to have products for wound care just in case. Obviously, you're going to turn them quite often if they can't move themselves. That diverted me from where I was going. It just popped into my mind. And now I've forgotten where I was going.
That's because you are a fountain of information.
Silly.
What?
Diapers. But again, if you've got incontinence pads, I think it depends on the animal. It may be really beneficial to have a diaper for an animal, a cat or a dog that can't get up. Some, if they're not large animals, for you to pick them up because they don't want to give up their old habits. So again, it's your situation, your animal's choice of what is going to give them most comfort. And there are a lot of dogs that hate to mess their bed and they'll do anything. And I've had people say, I think he's in pain and this is terrible and I don't know what to do. And it's turned out that the dog was holding himself for so long because he couldn't
Oh,
get up. Once they took him out to the potty outside, he
right.
relieved himself and the symptoms of pain had vanished. He was just
That's
trying to tell them I need to go.
and that's us assuming that they can't go, that we can't get them outside, but we can get them outside with slings and using towels, as you're describing. Let's see. There's also little grippy socks that they have for older dogs these days, little toe grips.
I tried them.
You did? Okay. I can tell from your nonverbal that it
Actually,
wasn't.
it wasn't that long ago. It was with Rosie before she died, and she was really tottering and hardly able to walk. I tried two or three different types, and she just chewed them off.
Oh no.
She didn't want them on her feet, and she got really upset. So I gave up.
Oh God, they aren't exactly inexpensive too, if you'd
Oh.
watch chewing them up. I wanted to get back to what you were mentioning about the bedding, because you often talked how important it is to layer everything so that when you do need to get something out of there, you don't have to move the pet completely from the area to still make them comfortable. And so they're not lying in their own waste.
It makes sense because if you've got a large dog, for instance, who can't get up, and you've got maybe 4 or 5 layers, it depends up to you and your laundry capability a lot, what you can do, because you've still got to turn that animal so that they don't get wound bed sores. So if you roll them over, then you can pull out the wet piece, then you've already got the new bed there, and then you roll them back and you pull out the other side, so you can do it side by side without having to lift them right up. It's more comfortable that way. You can do that with cats too, but generally they're easier to just manage because they're not that heavy.
In that way, you're making life easier for yourself, but also making it less stressful for your dog
Yeah.
or the cats, certainly. Okay, so we've done good. We've got the syringes of all different sizes. Pill pockets are another thing that can be used in case you have medication that needs to be given.
Yes, I'm using those every single day now.
Are you?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't be without them. Very often you find animals that they won't take a liquid medicine at any price. Ollie said the same thing. There's no way I'm taking this. You're going to have to make it taste good.
Putting you to the test.
Yes, very much. We live and learn every day, don't we?
Yeah. My go-to at the moment is Cheese Whiz or Easy Cheese or one of the little bottles that don't have to be refrigerated and you can just do a little squirt of cheese because my dogs love that. Okay, I'd mentioned the flashlight because then you can check gums and eye color and ear color and their breathing when you're focusing on that. I guess one thing, if you have a diagnosis of diabetes or heart issues on your pet, that then you'd want to be keeping your glucose strips on hand. Make sure you have a very good supply of them. So have your backup supply. I have my very own stethoscope. I believe you do too. As soon as you ever have a heart condition with any of your pets, you want to make sure you have a stethoscope. It's important. It helps you feel more comfortable yourself. I guess I'll say for the comfort kit, maybe the stethoscope is more for you.
Yeah.
You do have to learn how to listen and what you're
That's
listening for.
exactly what I was going to say. If somebody's not used to having one and using it, then it's probably not even worth getting it because you're not probably not going to use it anyway.
But if you haven't ever had one, it's worth getting to see if what you're learning you can have about your animal's condition. Hydration tools for those who are able to do sub-Q fluids at home. That'd be the kind of thing to have on hand because it's not really all about medical. It's a lot of what we're talking about is really being mindful of, again, what would be comfortable for you and provide comfort to you and provide comfort to your pet. We're doing good on the list here. I said I was going to be crossing them out as we go. Flower essences right here, the calming sprays, the soft, comforting music. There we go. I had the example of my friend who traveled recording her voice.
Right. Oh,
So her pets could be
thing as
hearing her
well.
voice.
There are also several homeopathic remedies. I know I always go on about homeopathy, but acute remedies for all sorts of common ailments as well as end of life issues.
Right.
4 or 5 of those important remedies, just again, kept in your comfort kit would be excellent to have. I wouldn't be without mine.
And how would you recommend our listeners learn about those?
And in actual fact, Dr. Google can supply a perfect list. The BrightHaven site, I think we have them. Actually, I think we have a comfort care list, don't we?
You do, yes.
It should be mentioned in there, I would have thought. Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. Yes, we do have a list of suitable homeopathic remedies. That's for end of life situations,
Okay.
but not for like shock, which would obviously be aconite or arnica for bruising. So
Oh,
those are the kinds of remedies that I was really going with.
okay.
Some of the more common remedies that you would use on an everyday basis, like
Okay.
apis for a bee sting or something like that. Always good to have.
Always good to have. Maybe it's another podcast episode conversation for us to have.
Oh, God.
We'll dive more into that. I guess one of the last things I'd like us to think about is, have we covered everything that the pet parent would need to have on hand for herself or himself? Because having this kit ready isn't just for your animal, it's also for you to help you stay calm in a situation where you're worried.
A small bottle of wine and a beer.
We know your go-to.
Um, I don't know. I think the telephone numbers, because I think we have to talk ourselves off a ledge if something
Yeah,
happens
yeah,
suddenly.
true.
Or if it's happened slowly, then if we have all these supplies on hand somewhere in the house, wherever we've chosen to keep them, if we're lying in bed thinking, oh, I wonder if he's still doing that tomorrow, I wonder what, and then you think, oh my gosh, I know what I've got in the comfort kit. It may be as simple as Manuka honey to make him feel better about that wound itching or something. I think just knowing that you have these kinds of products should you need them,
Right.
maybe something for nausea, which can be part of all sorts of chronic things. I mean, it's all about the individual, I think, that you've got a healthy animal who doesn't have any major illness going on, then you can identify some of these things from a comfort care kit that just in case this happened. Then, if you have an animal with a history of an illness, then you're going to be adding in the syringes that you might need for them. But then, as you progress towards end of life, then you're starting to bring in different types of pain control and the
Right.
things that you might need at the end of life.
I guess just to tag onto that, the important thing is to start where you are with the pet you have and the health they have or the health concerns that they have to guide you as to what
Yeah.
you most need to be focusing on as you start assembling these things. But creating a comfort kit is really one of the simplest ways to nurture your own peace of mind. What
Have
we
we mentioned like gauze, vet wrap? If a dog gets bitten or rubs up against a tree and gets injured, having vet wrap, which is this stretchy, elasticy type of stuff, it's a must. I know I never used to have a product like that. Be like, oh my God, what can I do with this?
I guess having a basic chlorhexidine or betadine or something that you could have to wash out a wound if needed, and then gauze to protect it.
Yeah.
I guess as we bring this conversation to a close, I started saying it's important to start where you are, but to just start. I guess to also start small and not try to do everything all at once. What would you suggest as a closing thought, Gail?
Baby steps.
There we go.
Exactly. You just basically say, just start where you are. You may only have one animal, cat or a dog or a hamster, and
Mhm.
just think about your own situation. Think about if something happened urgently. Oh, let me just, yeah, I could do that. Let me write down some phone numbers. Or it could be a situation where if I choose euthanasia, would I want someone to come to the house? So doing a little research to find a vet that you would trust who may come to the house, or maybe you're more comfortable to go to them. But just getting those things done, dusted, and for me on the side of the fridge is perfect. Then I
Right.
don't have to think about them anymore.
It's always easier to do research when you don't really need to do it at that moment. Doing that ahead of time makes life so much easier. So I guess I would say that if you're going to take just one step after listening to today's conversation, as Gail is saying, write down your vet's contact information and the emergency rooms in the area or the mobile vet in the area so that you do have your options. Place it where you can see it, find it easily, because that'll be your very first step for peace of mind. So, as always, we thank you for being with us and hope that some of this information is helpful, not just in determining what to put in your comfort kit, but to understand that it's as much for you as it is for your pet to establish that peace of mind. So thank you for being with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye now.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Peace of Mind for Pet Parents. We hope today's episode has offered you support and insight as you care for your aging or ill pets.
Remember, it's not just about the end, it's about living well at every stage of life. To continue your journey with us, explore more resources at BrightHaven Caregiver Academy's website, brightpathforpets.com, where you'll find guides, assessments, and a caring community of pet parents like you.
Until next time, may you and your pets find comfort, connection, and peace in every moment. Take care.